Hey guys, Jeremy the Tall Trainer here, and for today's workout, you and I are going to go for a walk, or a jog, or a run. What we're going to do for this one is we're going to alternate between intervals of just standard cardio, where I'm going to read to you 8 chapters from this book that I think would be helpful in this time. So, and then it's broken up by stretches. So we'll read a chapter, we'll do a stretch, read a chapter, do a stretch. You'll be moving in between. So get your shoes on, get laced up, jacket if you need it, and meet me outside. All right, we'll start off with moving. Chapter 12, There is no I can't. This has been a tall trainer philosophy from the very beginning. Its roots are in the Bible, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The I can't phrase comes out of our mouth far too often. Every time it does, we give away some of our personal power, control, and choice. Probably the most common example that I catch myself using this, sometimes still, is when someone invites you to an event and you have a conflict already on your calendar. We say, I'm sorry, I can't come. In this context, we are trying to make it seem like we are powerless to change the schedule, so we aren't saying no to someone. The truth is we can. We are choosing not to. It would be more true to say, I'm sorry, I've already committed to another event at that time, and I want to honor my commitment. That flows out pretty natural, right? Okay, maybe not, but you get the idea. Now, you don't have to go out and change the way you say everything overnight, but I want you to be aware when you are making yourself powerless. I saw this come up so often training people that the words, there is no I can't, were on the walls of my very first fitness studio. And now they're on the walls here too. We can't say I can't. Sorry. We say I can't when the truth is we don't want to. It's going to be hard. We aren't sure if we can. I find people get stuck in their weight loss, finances, job, etc. because of this very habit of creating powerlessness. I hear this phrase come out most often when someone has completed 12 great repetitions of an exercise and I say, just 3 more. When we are tired and have low belief in ourselves, it's tempting to throw an I can't out there so we don't have to try. If we try, we might fail, and failure is scary to so many. Except those who are successful because they failed many times trying to get where they are, and they see that that's the ticket. A fun activity to ask when you find yourself spitting an I can't out of your mouth is to follow it up with a what if I can? What if I can do those last 3 repetitions? What if I can lose those last 10 pounds that I always struggle with? What if I can? The thoughts that pop into your head are a lot more interesting after a question like that than a boring, brain-halting I can't. Another breakthrough question is how can I? When we ask good questions, we often get good answers, even when we are asking ourselves. We need to not only be on guard for our own limiting beliefs, but also the limiting beliefs of others. One you can't type comment from a certain person at a certain moment can be all it takes to stop us from pursuing our dreams. I still remember when I was planning to move back to my hometown after learning the personal training field in Texas. I had encouraged my mom to get a trainer at a local gym to look out for her posture. I told her what to look for in a trainer, and she found one who also taught classes at the local community college. When she told him what I planned on doing, he abruptly told her, you can't make a living as a personal trainer here. He was putting his I can't on me. Well, I knew better, and I'd been trained by some of the best, so I made the jump. It was challenging, and for a year I lived with my parents to get the business started. But since then, I have enjoyed many years, 9 since writing the book, but what is it, 13 or 14 now, of supporting myself and my family as a personal trainer. I think I can, and I think I did. If you think you can do a thing, or you think you can't do a thing, you're right. Henry Ford. If you get this thinking right, there is not much that will stop you from getting to your goal. If you get it wrong, just about anything can stop you. A dash of realism. There are limits in this world, some that are foolish to challenge. I don't need to try to get on the men's Olympic gymnast team. I'm 6'3" and well past the 18, 20-year-old prime gymnast age, and I have a ruptured disc in my lower back. I won't say I can't, but there may be a better use of my time, a job and purpose that God has called me and created me to perform. So I often make sure to remind people that as we are shooting for the stars in our physical fitness, that we can just add in, is this wise, after our no I can't declaration. It helps to make sure we are making a quality decision. I can try to make the Olympic gymnast team, but is it wise? The people I see become successful seem to have a more childlike approach to their goals. If you ask a kid if they can dance, they will show you they can right there. If you ask if they can play the piano, they say yes. And if you ask them if they can touch the moon, they try to jump. So my question to you, as you have those excuses and limitations bouncing around in your head, what if you can? Time to stretch. All right, time for a calf stretch. All right, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, pressing that back heel behind you. All right, push that back heel towards the ground. Bend that front knee to get a little more stretch there. All right, so we'll get 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds the other. It'll be very nice. Really good to stretch your calves when you're walking, jogging, or running. A lot of times they can cause a lot of the knee pain or foot pain if they are too tight. Make sure that foot is pointing straight ahead as you do it. All right, switch sides. All right, switch legs. Get the foot back, bend that front knee, press that heel back behind you. I've had it before where I've had like a pain showing up in my foot a little bit while I was running, and I've stopped and stretched my calves, and it neutralizes it. So be careful. You know, you can give yourself plantar fasciitis and other problems if you're letting the calves get too tight. Right, so get a really nice stretch into those calves, you know, and enjoy the rest of your walk. Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 15, Spot Reduction. The removal of fat from one spot on the body by exercising that area. This one is best explained in a story. I have a pool, or at least I had a pool when I wrote this book. It's nice. We love it in the summer. The outside temperature feels like it drops 15 degrees once you jump in the pool. And it came with the house. How lucky can you get? Well, this is a nice pool. It has stairs going into the shallow end and a deep end with a diving board, which I do flips off of, and a slide. It even has one of those lights underwater so you can light up the pool at night and feel like you're a movie star. It's a pretty awesome pool, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. But let's say I decided that there was one little thing that bugged me about the pool. The shallow end was perfect, but I felt like the deep end was far too deep. I'm not much of a handyman, but I like to work hard, so I go and get a bucket and start scooping water out of the deep end and pouring it into the grass. I spend hours and hours scooping and carrying and dumping water. Only in the deep end, mind you, because the shallow end is perfect. I just want less water in the deep end. I think you already know what would happen. Wouldn't the level of water of the whole pool go down even though I only worked on the deep end? This is going to be a horribly traumatic statement I'm about to make to many of you who have been tricked. Our bodies work just like the pool. Exercising one part of the body burns calories and removes fat from the whole body, just like a bucket removes water from the whole pool. Our belly and hips are obviously our deep end. They have far more fat storage than anywhere else. Our body is smart that way. It's the easiest place to carry extra weight. Could you imagine if we just gained extra weight in our hands? Everything we did would take so much work. Keeping the weight close to our center of gravity helps it to be more manageable. Did you ever wonder why you notice weight loss in people's faces and arms first? It's because that is the shallow end. If you take a foot of water out of the pool, you will certainly notice it most in the shallow end. In my pool, you'd have a few stairs to go down before you even got to water. If you still don't believe our bodies work like that, I want you to fully imagine the body allowing specific weight loss based on exercise in that area. This means those guys doing 1,000 crunches a day, but nothing else, would have ripped six-pack abs and fat arms and faces. You've never seen it happen that way, have you? I know I haven't. That's like taking water out of the pool and seeing a hole in the water where the bucket was. I'm glad it doesn't happen like that. It would be so hard to exercise and keep people looking balanced. Don't do crunches for belly fat and arm exercises for the back of the arm fat. Trying to lose fat in these areas with these types of exercises is like bailing water out of the pool with a shot glass. Ab and arm exercises are not the big calorie burners. Those exercises are still helpful, but if we focus on total body intense exercise, that's like pulling water out of the pool with a big old garbage can. We'll have a much better and faster result. Extending the pool analogy, why exercise alone doesn't work. While we are on the pool analogy, it could be a great place to talk about why exercise without proper nutrition doesn't work. Exercising is like the bucket pulling water out of the pool, and nutrition is controlling the flow of the water hose. For us, both are happening every day. If you eat a lot, then the hose is turned on full throttle, maybe even a fire hose. That's going to take a lot of bailing to keep the water at the same level. Not to mention try to lose. Eventually, you might tire out and give up, and the water level will rise. You get the most results from our fitness and weight loss program when you keep track of your nutrition. We need to burn those extra calories with our workouts and our metabolism boosting activities. Imagine how fast the water would evaporate if you could control how hot it was outside. Building muscle is like increasing evaporation on the pool. Without extra exercise, bailing, your body will burn more calories at rest. High intensity interval training and resistance training also have a longer excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, which means afterburn. This means they cause the metabolism to be elevated for minutes and hours after the workout, depending on intensity. Some studies have witnessed this effect 24 to 48 hours after the workout. So instead of spending your available time trying to spot reduce the butt, thighs, abs, or arms, we need to use that time generating more muscle and a bigger afterburn. This is not a bad idea to figure out how to better regulate the inflow of food as well. If you don't, there's no way to out-exercise a fire hose of food coming in daily. Exercise, nutrition, nutrition, exercise. For best results, become better at both. Time to stretch.
All right, next up, hamstring stretch. All right, chest out, butt out, and tip forward. Getting after those hamstrings. All right, so just because you're moving them out doesn't mean you're stretching your hamstrings very much. In fact, a walk sometimes doesn't stretch your hamstrings very much at all. And so getting a specific stretch in can be very, very helpful because hamstring tightness and lower back pain have a very strong correlation there. So chest out, butt out, and tip in there. Go ahead and switch sides. Chest out, butt out. Imagine there's a dial at your hips. You're turning that dial to tip into this more. Get a nice stretch in there. Chance to catch your breath a little bit here too. Try to turn and face that foot as you're doing it. It'll be a better quality stretch into that hamstring. If you want to add like calf in a tiny bit, you can pull the toes back, but don't let it distract you from the hamstring.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 19, Stress Management and Boundaries. When you are stressed, angry, or hurt, it is a signal that something isn't quite right. I like the term boundary from the books Boundaries by Henry Cloud to describe this. Basically, a boundary was violated, and that is why you feel that way. I can't think of any reason you could feel that way without a boundary violation. Examples of boundary violations: someone punches you in the face. Physical boundary, personal space, and emotional boundary of feeling safe. Someone shows up late to dinner. They violated a time boundary and an emotional "I respect your time" boundary. You get fired from your job. The boundary of your job got violated. You saw it as yours and it got taken. You don't like taking calls from Aunt Marge because she keeps going on and on and on. Your personal time is violated, even if you never communicated a need to get off the phone because you feel guilty telling her that since she lives all alone. You still feel annoyed. You say yes when you mean no. You say yes again to coaching the soccer team even though you don't have time and your family needs to see you more. Types of boundaries. Clear boundaries. Clear boundaries are like a house with a nice wooded fence around the yard. Everyone can see the boundary and they know it's there. When they go through the gate, they know they are on your property. If you invite somebody in, you don't get upset that they are there. If someone barges in and starts cooking on your grill, you might feel violated. Unstated boundaries. These are common and very common to stumble through in the first year of marriage. These are boundaries that you have, but you haven't told anyone. You might let someone violate them for years, getting more and more annoyed until you freak out. Like when Aunt March calls and you listen to her rant for over an hour again. You haven't told her, but the boundary is still very real to you. Cultural boundaries. Whether family, culture, or national culture, these are things that we grow up with that we assume every person or family operates that way, like kissing family members goodbye on the lips. I grew up in a hug family, but some people grew up in a kiss family. A kiss to anyone but Sarah, my wife, and my daughter Anna feels like a violation of my personal space, though it may be perfectly comfortable with someone else. Excessive boundaries. This is a boundary that actually covers someone else's legitimate boundary. If I decide that my neighbor's lawn needs to be cut lower and I go over and cut it, I'm on their property uninvited, messing around with stuff. They might not care, but they also might, and they have every right to tell me to bug off. This can be a parent who shields a child from challenges and difficulty, taking on the child's personal challenges that they need to solve. Two types of people who are really bad at boundaries, though all of us have played these roles occasionally. Boundary doormats. These people let others walk all over them without even mentioning they don't like it. This makes other people violators even though they didn't know there was a boundary. These people are often very beaten down, but also very frustrated, equals stressed. They sometimes snap. Boundary busters is a different kind. These people are usually narcissists or codependents. They have a tough time thinking of other people and so blast through even well-stated boundaries. They completely obliterate the boundary doormats. The codependents do this thinking they are helping the narcissist, and the narcissists do this because it suits their own needs. Basically, the problem comes from someone stepping into an area physically, verbally, emotionally, etc., that someone else feels is theirs, and the intrusion is not appreciated. So with this terminology, you can hopefully see the stress a little differently. When you feel those negative emotions, is there an excessive boundary you have placed where you shouldn't? Have you not stated your boundaries clear enough so people know where they are? Is there someone you need to be more firm with and give consequences for boundary violations? Boundary busting examples specific to weight loss. Your spouse starts making or bringing home desserts just as you start your weight loss program. Sometimes it's on purpose and sometimes it is subconscious. Either way, it often means your improvement makes them feel less important. Another one. You get harassed at the family picnic because you brought some of your own food so you could stick to your healthy eating pattern. Usually it's their insecurity coming out is why they are harassing you. Another one is your spouse keeps asking or taking you out to dinner. Seems nice, but it's kind of intruding on your boundary of something you're working on. Practical ideas for working with stress from boundaries. Read the book Boundaries by Henry Cloud. There's way more info in there. Let go and let God. Easier said than done. Some things are too big for us to carry. This is most likely needs to be told to the codependent as they tend to take on the problems of the world. Let go of taking responsibility for everyone around you and let God handle it. I'm often in need of this reminder. Remember that a yes is really a no to something else. A yes to being a soccer coach is a no to more time with your family. Make sure it fits your priorities. Another one. No is a complete sentence by Chris Charlton. Chris is actually the counselor we have really connected well with. He told me this because I always feel I need to say something, have some super amazing reason in order to say no to someone. I don't have to, and you don't either. You can check out his website at www.interactcounseling.com. Another one is a purposeful decrease in expectations. Sometimes you need to do this because out of this world expectations get you hurt a lot. If you expect everyone to call you on your birthday, ouch, you will have a sad day. You don't want to lower your expectations so much that you are thankful when somebody kicks you, but sometimes you need to drop them a little. Another thing you could do is journal when you feel emotions rise up. Try to find what feelings and boundaries might be involved. Daily journaling is an important step to emotional health. You could sit down with boundary violators. If you are really wounded in this way, it would be wise to see a counselor first. They may not have even been aware of how you felt about things. Speak the truth with love. Find a healthy vent for frustrations first before you sit down with them, so you don't give them double-barreled craziness. All right, the next thing, build your life around your priorities. Drop more things off your schedule. Put more things you love in there, and stress will decrease. If stress is a big problem, often occurring struggle for you, this could be the most important thing to work on in your fitness journey. It could be more powerful than a personal trainer and a perfect meal plan. Remember, your body will get leaner from the brain down. Time to stretch.
All right, next up, a quad stretch. You may want to grab something to hold on to. I got a little tiny tree here. All right, so I'm going to grab onto the ankle, point that knee down, abs in tight, and push the hips forward. All right, so I got a nice quad stretch right in there. Now it's important that it's not just about cranking your foot back. You can pull the foot back, you're allowed to, but it's not just that. It's also pointing the knee down and pushing the hips forward, keeping the abs in tight. So the body is nice and lined up. Let me show you from the side. That's why you have to hold on to something. Our other side. Holding on, grabbing a hold. Abs in tight. Now, this is a pretty flimsy little tree here, but it can help. It can help a little bit. It is possible to do freestanding, but sometimes you're so focused on your balance that you don't focus on the stretch as much. And I do want you to focus on that stretch. The quad here is a big one for knee pain. If we get tight across here, we're going to have a little more trouble in the knee and the back.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 22, How to Get Rich and Lose Weight. Are there two things that are hyped and marketed as much as get rich quick and lose weight quick? Financial insecurity and body insecurity are massive wounds many of us carry. When someone says they can take the pain away, instantly we want to believe them, even though we know it's a trick. Why does it always end up being a trick? Consider the source. The best place to get financial advice is from someone who's got the money you wish you had. The best place for weight loss advice is from someone who has done it and kept it off, not a celebrity who endorses a new weight loss trick every couple years because they gained all their weight back from the last time. We also know better than to take financial advice from the lotto winners. They don't have a repeatable or long-term successful plan. Celebrities go broke all the time in spite of millions of dollars, and people gain back their weight even after surgeries. Another important point is don't take lessons from only one person who is successful. You need to know what works every time, consistently. The best source for information on getting rich is a book called The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. It turns out most millionaires aren't who you think they are. Celebrities in sports only make up 1% of millionaires. Who are these people? What do they do? How can I be like them? All that and more is answered in the book. What about the best source for long-term weight loss advice? Currently, one of the best sources is the National Weight Control Registry. Feedback from thousands of people who have lost weight and kept it off. You will find what I say here will not conflict with the information you find there. www.nwcr.ws. My financial coach told me. Dave Ramsey is my top financial coach, and he is for about 6 to 7 million other people as well. Probably more like 10 or 12 now. His book, The Total Money Makeover, is a must-read for every person on the planet. He has 7 steps to financial peace and prosperity. They are all very basic. It turns out that's the truth of getting rich. It's also the truth about losing weight and being healthy. Simple, but not easy. There is one thing that people who are successful with money and people who are successful with their body weight do, especially if they have struggled in the past. This is actually the engine that makes Dave's advice work. Without it, people are lost, confused, stressed, and perpetually stuck. Keep a written budget. For your finances, you need to designate where your money is going to go for the month, so you aren't asking yourself at the end of the month, where did all the money go? The same goes for your food and calories. You need a plan for your eating so you get to the end of the day without breaking your budget. Is this fun to do? Not for most people. Is it rewarding to do? Absolutely. Sarah and I paid off $98,000 in debt in the first 3.5 years of marriage. Yes, we sometimes ate beans and rice, and we lived in a trailer for some of that time. Dave says, live like no one else so later you can live and give like no one else. With $1,200 in fewer bills each month, it's like getting a raise. And financial stress drops away. What about weight loss? This food journaling thing isn't easy, but it's so worth it. Imagine being at your goal weight without having any more weight to lose. You look great, you feel healthy, you have energy and smiles that brighten the world around you. This is a proven way to get rich and lose weight every time. In weight loss studies, people who kept a food journal lose twice as much weight as those who don't. Oh man, I want that. If you have been in debt, this goes double for you. We all know people who don't keep record of their money but are doing just fine. We also know people who don't keep track of their food and they do just fine as well. If you're struggling, these people are not like you. They've never struggled. They don't have as many habits to change. If you've been overweight or in debt, you know that you don't feel like you have a handle in this area. You need a budget to learn about money and or calories so you can get a handle on this. While I recommend a monthly financial budget for every month you plan to be alive, I think you can take breaks from your food journaling. This isn't a life sentence. Many people can get to their goal weight and maintain for a few months and slowly let up on the journal and maintain for a while. When the bumps of life come in and you notice your pants are getting tighter or the scale is getting heavier, it might be time to get back to it. How to food journal. Keeping track of calories is the bare minimum. To do this, you need to weigh and measure your food and keep a record on paper, or better yet, use a food journaling software because it's a lot easier and gives you a lot more information. We use one with our clients that calculates vitamins and minerals as well as macronutrients. So you get to learn not just how to lose weight, but how to eat healthfully. Step 1, buy a food scale. Step 2, pour or place food on scale to measure in grams. Compare to package label and write calories down or enter into software. Use this information to follow other guidelines in this book equals success. If you want to do this right, we can hook you up with access to our nutrition program that we use. All right, just contact us. Give me a call, 1-800-380-7047, or email me at jeremy@talltrainer.com. Time to stretch.
All right. Next up, we have a side stretch here. All right, so we're gonna go wide here, a wide split. You can lean side to side, or you can just take it down in the middle. All right, so you just tip forward in the middle. Make sure as you're doing that, I got my feet wide. I'm tipping. I'm not rounding. I'm tipping, so the tailbone is sticking out. Trying to keep the back straight. Put the hands on the legs there a little bit, and get that stretch. So we're getting the adductors in here, the inside of the legs. Very nice. We'll just hold this. We're getting both at the same time, so we'll hold this the full minute. You can try to straighten your knees a little bit more, stick the chest out more, tip a little bit more. If you're real flexible, you might even be able to get your elbows on the ground. Oh, it's not happening for me today, but it is humanly possible, which is interesting, with a straight back. Very impressive.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 26, Momentum. An object at rest tends to stay at rest until a force acts on it. An object in motion tends to stay in motion until a force acts on it. This momentum equation helps us understand how objects move in a frictionless environment. Focused intensity over time times the power of God equals momentum. This is adapted from Dave Ramsey. Momentum is also a big deal for our lives and our habits, especially healthy ones. This formula is from Dave Ramsey from his book, and course called EntreLeadership. I promise I won't cite Dave Ramsey in every single one of these. Focus intensity over time by God equals momentum. We've all experienced momentum in our lives. When you have a habit of exercise going and it just becomes your routine, or on the other side, you've been on the couch after work and you want to add exercise in, but you just can't seem to get yourself going. Life feels better when you have momentum on your side. 2 ways to get momentum started: impact versus progression. I can't tell you which one of these is better for you, but I think it's a combination of both. We run different challenges that can help people in a 6-week period of time or 21 days or different things like that to really focus in, and that focus intensity. And sometimes you make changes and you never look back. Other people will make changes that they quickly abandon once the challenge is over and gain all the way back and then some. A final group will get so intimidated by the amount of change that they don't really participate in the challenge. A challenge like this is an example of impact. Like balls on a pool table hit each other and transfer momentum suddenly, there are weight loss reality shows that use the same tactic. Going from couch potato to signing up for a workout program can be a similar sudden boost of momentum. Some people will join our program and want a full meal plan that they can eat. We get them a plan and they only eat that. They get to every workout and they have record-setting results in 1 month. For some, this new style of eating and exercise sticks long-term and they never look back. I'd love to say that's what happens most of the time. With most people, that is rare. The majority hit an amazing level of success and then leave those habits because they are done. For the people who get overwhelmed at a fitness challenge and don't take action, and the people who lose but then gain back, a longer duration plan is needed. Small, consistent steps may be the way to go. It won't be massive change at first, but consistent force over time will create momentum. It's like pushing a car from a dead stop. You push hard, but only get a little motion. If you keep pushing, it slowly gets faster and faster until you are jogging to keep up. This only works if the force stays consistent. If you push the car for 3 seconds every 5 minutes, you will not build a momentum. It will roll, stop, and never get anywhere significant. For these people, we work on one strategy at a time: water, protein, logging food, vegetables, etc. Once they master one area and make a habit, we can work on the next. This strategy works better for more people. Long-term success is more likely using this tactic. Focus your focus. Dave Ramsey's momentum theorem says focused intensity over time. If you try to work out every day, drink more water, eat more protein, eat more vegetables, eat every 3 to 4 hours, and on, you're in danger of being unfocused. There are too many things to work on at once. You do some of the things some of the time and make no progress. You may shift focus from career, social activities, hobbies to focus on your physical health, but you need to focus that focus. Pick a small area to really focus on. Push that water car until it's rolling faster than you can run. Habit. And then push the protein car. This is how I have slowly improved over time and how I will continue to do so. People think I was born with my habits and that they came easy and overnight. I had to be convinced it was something I not only needed but wanted to do, and then start doing it with focused intensity. Life has friction and other disrupting forces. Once you get the car rolling, whether with an impact or steady pushing, there are forces that are going to slow or stop your momentum. In physics, we talk about friction. This is the force that slows the car once you stop pushing. If you've got it rolling well, it takes a while to slow, but the force is always there. Your good habits do need attention from time to time. Maybe our attendance at our workout class starts to slip, or we start visiting the treadmill less and less often. Sure, we still do it, but the momentum of that habit is beginning to slow. Without checking back into it, we are in danger of dropping it completely very soon. We need to stay on guard for this. In our program, we have monthly goals, measurements, and even a fitness test combined with a review time. You need to create regular review for yourself to consciously look at what is working and what isn't. This will help you catch a slip before it becomes a fall. Life disruptions. I remember my mom's journey. My mom lost weight and got to her goal, but then my grandfather, her dad, died. And the grief and family drama that happened afterwards caused her to gain a large amount of weight back. She didn't have a workout class that encouraged her at the time, so she went so far off she basically had to restart after a couple years. Death or sickness of a loved one, health issue or injury, job loss or job change, relationship turmoil, kids in trouble, divorce, etc. These and about a million other things mess up our pretty habits and daily pattern all the time. Like a coronavirus, perhaps. Pandemic, anyone? When dealing with small disruptions, the key is to defend your health behaviors against these distractions, sometimes setting up a plan for distractions that keep recurring. Like having your kid buy lunch at school instead of making their lunch because they keep forgetting it at home and you have to give up your workout time to bring it to them. Other creative solutions possible as well. When the big disruptions come, there is certainly a time and place to postpone your workout. If you are on your way to the gym and you learn your spouse was in a car accident and is being taken to the hospital, it's okay to miss a workout. If a loved one is dying and you spend extra time with them and have to eat less healthy food or not at the best times, if this goes on for a week, it's okay to take a couple minutes to do something for yourself too. Like grocery shop, eat a nice salad. You may stop pushing that car habit for a moment and it may lose momentum. As soon as you can, you need to get back to it and perhaps even increase your work in that area to get it rolling full speed again. If it goes for multiple weeks like this pandemic, you're going to need to find a new normal. How can I still do the good things even if life is different? You can't give up on it for weeks and weeks on end and expect to have much momentum when you're done. Time to stretch.
All right, next up is a tricep stretch. All right, reaching back, grab a hold of the elbow, point that one up there, getting the arms to stretch. All right, this is good for our posture. We can free up some of that, makes the shoulders much happier. So we'll spend part of the time on one side, part of the time on the other side. Keep the abs pulled in, point that elbow up in the air. About 5 more seconds there. All right, go ahead and switch sides. The more you're doubling that hand back, so trying to pat yourself on your own shoulder there, and then point the elbow up. So the stronger the bend is in the elbow, the better the stretch is going to be. So you're lifting and pointing that up, abs in tight. Like those sure and unsure commercials, make sure you are sure that armpit is opened up right there. Alright, good stretch. Breathe a little bit. Breathe a little bit.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 27. Boredom is a huge challenge. Boredom stops us from doing the good things we need to do to be healthy, and also makes us reach for unhealthy and unproductive things to soothe the discontent. There were 3 things I identified early in my career that broke up people's good workout routine. There are certainly more, but these were the big 3: injury, lack of results, and boring workouts. I had seen it in myself and the people I trained. Fighting these 3 workout blockers became part of the mission of Tall Trainer Fitness. Our core philosophy hinges off of safety, results, and fun. Fun is important because boring workouts don't keep people going long term. You can hit the treadmill, listen to music, and stare at a wall in your basement only so many times before most of us find some reason we don't have time for that today. So how do we fight boredom at Tall Trainer? New workouts all the time. Hundreds of workouts. People who have been training with us for years are still seeing new stuff. Make sure you try new exercises on a consistent basis. Another way is consistent strength training for 3 months and then we change it up. If you change too often, you cannot guarantee progress. You need some repetition in your workouts to allow you to improve on some of those activities. We do the same style of resistance workout 1 to 2 times per week. Then before the body and mind have a chance to get tired of it, we change it. Social. Work out with others. Laugh, joke, share life. If you aren't looking forward to sweating or burning your muscles, you might look forward to seeing your exercise buddies. That will prevent boredom and keep you coming back for more. Energy. We bring energy into our classes. If you are somewhere and the instructor looks bored themselves, find a new place to work out. Find a place that gets you all sorts of fired up. We play energetic music, shout encouragement, and generally have a blast leading workouts. Find some fun and join in. Boredom at home or boredom with life. Danger. This is the biggest nutrition challenge for so many people. I began to identify this more and more as I noticed some people actually lose weight on vacation. My wife is usually one of those people. Every time we went on vacation, she would come back lighter. I had to figure this out, otherwise their weight loss program would be way too expensive to vacation all year round. I found that people on vacation eat, drink, and relax. Sounds like how most people gain weight. How are these people losing? My wife and I were able to figure out her weight loss and have investigated it with some others and have found the same thing happening. When they're on vacation, they eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner out at a restaurant most of the time. They are busy, active, and entertained in between, so they don't think about food. There's no fridge fully stocked or cabinets with sinful goodies hiding within reach. They lose weight because they are busy, relaxed, and constant snacking goes away. At home, they might be more stressed, have these bored times, and have snacks just feet away. I need to explain my wife a little more since she's a big reason for this discovery. My wife is 5'7", and at one time she weighed 89 pounds as an anorexic teen. She almost died. Then she learned about bulimia and gained some weight while vomiting daily. As she worked to battle bulimia, she overweight her way to 189 pounds. 100 pounds in 3 years. Some of that she desperately needed. Some of that she didn't need, but she needed it to heal. She has done a lot of work to get to the roots of these issues and structure her life to create a more balance so she relies on food less. It is safe to say she is an emotional eater in a strong way. We all are at varying degrees. When we moved into our trailer after getting married, she worked for over a week or two, painting everything. When we moved out of the trailer a couple years later into our house, she did the same thing. I learned that I needed to watch out for her and actually remind her to eat in those times because she gets so busy she forgets. If you have ever starved yourself to near death over years, the idea of forgetting to eat is crazy. Hunger is a scary thing to feel in your body because it nearly killed you. This is also why those starvation-style diets don't work, because when you are done, you can't stand feeling hungry and overeat your weight back on. So how does this woman with a huge fear of hunger forget to eat? She is not bored. So she doesn't need to use food to fill in the gaps. I am convinced that God designed us for meaningful work. He did not design us to collapse on the couch after a long day of sitting at a desk staring at a light source, which I'm doing right now. Since this discovery, we have found over and over again that our clients have this struggle too. If you don't have a meaningful project or work that you can't wait to get back to, the boredom causes many to look for a fun snack. These fun snacks add up and can easily undo your high-intensity interval workout that morning or eclipse the salad that you ate for lunch. How to not get bored. 1. House projects. When you get home, get going on a fun project that allows you to see results. Ideally, it uses body and mind. Volunteer. If you are having boring days, volunteer in an active way. Again, moving body and using mind is ideal. Another one, get a different job. If you spend all day bored at work, you will snack more there too. Find work that inspires you. Go play outside. Isn't that what we tell our kids? Go outside. Plan time with friends that doesn't involve eating. A walking friend, workout friend, etc. Get a hobby. Crafting, woodworking, making gifts for people, etc. Pretend you are the parent of yourself and you just walked in the room saying, "I'm bored." What would you suggest? Then do it. Do something weird on a regular basis. It'll bring out your silly again. Don't let your life get boring. There is truly so much cool stuff to do. Keep your workout time interesting so you keep doing it and keep the rest of your day full of fun, challenging activities, and you won't be looking for extra calories to fill the time. Time to stretch.
All right, next up is a hip stretch. You can do the lunge version, or you can do the cross ankle over the knee if you got something to hold on to. I love the cross ankle over the knee one. It is really good for our hip. If you can't hit this one right now, when you get back home, try to sit down and do this one. You can sit in a chair and do the same stretch. Back is straight, tipping forward as you do the stretch. All right, very lovely. Yes, tipping forward, stretching that hip out. Let's try the other side there. Come in there, tipping. So try to keep the back straight as you do it, so don't round and slouch. A lot of times our back bending, slouching is the result of tight hips. So the hips get tight, and so you can't move in your hips, so you end up bending your back. It's a bad habit, and it can cost you, cost me dearly. It was bad, so I had to unlearn that habit. And now I have much less back pain. It's a lovely thing. So keep your back straight when possible.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 28, Want to versus have to. Do you have to go to work? Do you have to work out? Do you have to avoid sweets? Do you have to get up early? Well, that stinks. And it's a sure bet that by the end of the day, you'll be exhausted by doing all those things you have to do. It can be easy to adopt the poor me attitude when faced with a busy day or a weight loss and fitness challenge. At the risk of oversimplifying something complex, all we need to do is change our mind about the activity, changing a have to into a want to. You can do all the same activities, have a busy day, deal with big challenges, and end up feeling great at the end of the day. Thoughts are physical. They have a physical and chemical response in every cell of our bodies. Positive physical benefits for positive thoughts, negative physical consequences for negative thoughts. When you feel challenged, you release norepinephrine. This is our fight hormone. When you feel loss of control, you release epinephrine, which is our flight and anxiety hormone. When you feel defeated, you release cortisol. That's the fat gain hormone. These thought reactions flow throughout our entire bodies and tell ourselves whether to take action or lay down and wait to die. It is how we feel about what happens to us that matters more than the actual event. Feeling challenged is awesome. It has the potential to lift us out of lethargy and get us doing something productive. If we feel overwhelmed, we will not perform well, and our bodies definitely bear the burden. I want to work out equals challenge. I have to work out equals loss of control. I want to eat healthy equals challenge. I have to eat healthy equals loss of control. If you want a happier, healthier, skinnier life, we need to change our thoughts. I'm pretty passionate and believe in this mental shift because I needed to use it to get through a tough spot. I went through a tough time a couple years back. I got a good kick in the gut by That's Just Business. It was a challenge that could have closed many businesses. It hurt bad enough I wanted to crawl in a hole and die. I guess I'm a sensitive fella. I didn't have much positivity to give my clients. I had moments I didn't want to go to work. God carried me through that phase, and He kept pushing me to work, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. He reminded me that it's not my business, it's His. While I still try to take ownership from time to time, it was helpful to give some of that stress and pressure to Him. How to find a want to inside a have to. First, list all the benefits there are for the thing you want to do. Second, think through the consequences of not doing what you have to do. Third, list other options instead of your have to. Let's use going to work as an example. Benefits of going to work. They pay you. There might be health benefits. You aren't laying around watching TV being useless. You get to interact with other people. You ... How about the consequence of not going to work? 1, they stop paying you and probably end the benefits too. You have to find something to do with 8 or more hours of your day. You won't see people as much, etc., etc. How about listing other options instead of your have to? So if you have to go to work. It's important that you never feel stuck. Remember, there are people near the equator who live in grass and mud huts that have nothing and are probably happier than you are. If you can afford this book, you could probably sell everything you have for plane tickets for you and your immediate family and settle down to a life of picking coffee beans or fishing or something else. Okay, this might not sound like something you want to do, but realize it is an option. When we don't have options, you feel a loss of control, anxiety. So maybe you don't live in the rainforest with a loincloth tribe, but you could downsize your house and get any old job for half the pay. Okay, so maybe you don't want to do that either, but again, it's an option. You can quit your job, stop paying your bills, lose your material possessions, and live on the street, or try to get government assistance. Hope that one's not too appealing. But it is an option. I remember the movie Office Space, where an office worker has an existential crisis and decides not to go to work. I don't like it, so I'm just not going to go. It's a choice and a hilarious movie, in my opinion. If you are stuck, if you aren't stuck, so now that you have options, you are not stuck. You might choose to go to work now, but not because you have to, but because you want to. It's the choice you want to make. You didn't want to choose the other ones. What got my fire for going back to work again? The thought of all the people we were helping not having a place to get this kind of help. And doing the worst case scenario, realizing that if it all goes away, it could at any time, that God is good and I could probably get a better paying job in someone else's business with the level of training and work ethic I have. I reminded myself that downshifting lifestyle would not be the end of the world. Sarah and I started our marriage living in a trailer and we were very happy there. We could work for a minimum wage and still have a beautiful life with my wife and daughter. That level of downshift is possible because of God-inspired financial planning taught by Dave Ramsey. We have no student loans, no car payments, and no mortgage. If you are curious, go to daveramsey.com. I woke up every morning and raced to work because I wanted to help people like you for as long as the doors stay open, and I still do. Now go to work because you want to contribute to the world. Go exercise because you want to feel strong and healthy again. And eat some food that is good for you because you want to be lean and energetic. And keep reading this book because you want to be inspired more. Time to stretch.
All right, next up is a field goal squeeze. Shoulders down, chest out, stretching across the chest and squeezing the upper back. All right, a chance to hit your posture here. Shoulders down, head pulled back, chest out. Oh, very nice. Whew. Do this all day, right? So another chance to catch your breath, but also a chance to re-hit your posture, remind you the position you're supposed to be in while you are walking, jogging, and running. You are not supposed to be staring at the ground and going like this, all right? You're supposed to be looking out, straight ahead, eyes on the horizon, all right? That's the position we want, and that promotes much better posture as you are doing this stuff. Oh, it feels good. Boy, that feels good.
Okay, back to your walk, jog, run, and learn time. Chapter 31. Realize you ain't perfect. I want to yell, freedom! Like Mel Gibson's character in Braveheart. I'm going to release you from the bondage of perfectionism. Well, help you start the process anyway. Perfectionism is a prison that prevents you from taking action and doesn't allow you to see opportunities. Two damaging phrases of perfectionism. I'm doing everything right. Why is my weight not down? And the other one is, once I'm through with this busy season, then I'll make this change. What's the problem with these statements? I've said both of these. I can speak about the dangers of perfectionism because I'm still a recovering perfectionist with relapses occasionally. I'm doing everything right. I often halfway joke with clients about this one. I've never had a day when I did everything right. I'm not sure I've had a minute where I did everything right. When this statement is used, we are probably doing a lot of things right, and more right than we feel we ever have before. However, there is a nasty prison this statement builds. If you are stuck and you are doing everything right, then there is no way out. But that's not so bad since you're already perfect. Smiley face. What can you improve on? What can you learn? Nothing. Because you are already doing everything right. Now, I realize this statement is used as an exaggeration, like, I've told you a million times not to do that. We really don't mean a million times. We just mean a lot of times. I believe in the power of words to either shut down our brains or fire them up. I did everything right shuts down our creative imagination, while a statement like, I've been working hard, is there something I'm missing? Begins to open up your creative part of your brain. It allows the brain to run. Let me say that again. I've been working hard, is there something I'm missing? When someone says this perfection statement, I'm doing everything right, I cannot help them without delicately calling them a liar. People don't like being called liars. This statement is also usually a sign that the person has already given up. It can be helpful to think of yourself like the little Irish football player in the movie Rudy. You've been knocked down for the 100th time that day, and as you lie there on your back or your face, you have a choice to make. Quit and deal with the consequences of failure, or get up and try again. Sometimes you need a little encouragement and some new ideas. My daughter Anna was a perfect example of this. I took her to a bounce house place for a daddy-daughter date. There is a gigantic scaffolding type structure in there that's half funhouse and half maze. They discouraged parents from playing on the equipment. Bummer. So I had to send her up there all alone. She was 3.5 years old. She decided she wanted to climb the slide that was way up there. She started climbing and made it just over halfway where the slide gets steeper, and her slippery socks wouldn't let her go any further. She dropped to her knees and flopped to her stomach and slid down. She tried again and again. Some kids were coming down and she moved out of their way, then tried again. It was clear that just trying harder at the same thing wasn't working to Daddy. I was in love with her determination, though. I got her attention and told her to pull her long pants up above her knees. I would have told her to take her socks off, but then they'd have been lost 3 stories up. She needed a better grip, and when she dropped to her knees at the halfway point, she would get it. She pulled her pants up and tried again. She climbed and reached the halfway point, and the socks started to slip. She dropped to her knees and realized she was stuck there a little. She began to climb. The slide kept getting steeper. It was hard. I still wasn't sure that would be enough to get her to the top. She grunted and worked and pulled herself up on the platform. I was a ninny and started jumping around with tears coming into my eyes, full of daddy pride. She pulled her pant legs back down and got back to playing. She climbed that slide 5 to 7 more times that day, every time pulling her pant legs up before climbing. She made it every time, even when she was getting a little tired. I want to encourage you to get back up and try again, like my determined daughter. But don't try the exact same way. The definition of insanity is doing the same action over and over and expecting a different result. Get up and try it a little differently. My job as a trainer is to help people find a new focus every time they get knocked down. I encourage them to try again. That there is something they still haven't tried, or a different mental state to try again with. I don't know your individual challenge, since you aren't talking back to me right now. So if you're feeling like giving up, I will ask you this question. Assuming you are not perfect, what is something new you can try this time? Hopefully other sections of this book will give you a ton of ideas. Once I'm through with this busy season. This is perfectionism at work. Sometimes we just think of this as busyism. The core concept at play in this statement is that somehow in the future there will be a time when you aren't very busy and you have tons of time to do blank, whatever it is you want to achieve. I've done this myself and still do. There is no perfect time. Why does our car always break down at the worst time? Because it's nearly always a bad time to have your car break down. There will be no perfect season. There is some good you can do today. We can change our past, present, and future. We do this based on what we do today. Actions today will bring about a different future for us, and today will become our past. Every spiritual teaching, I'm not even talking Christianity here, has a strong push to live our lives today. We don't know what the future holds for us. We can take action now. If we have time to eat, we can eat healthier, which, by the way, will give us more energy, mental clarity, and boost our immune system. All good things to have when you're in a tight spot in life. If you have time to shower, you have time to do a 1-minute exercise before. Make small steps. The work you do now is like investing in your retirement fund. The more you invest, the earlier you invest, the fund gets exponentially better. Don't wait for the perfect time. It's not coming. Do something imperfect but in a positive direction today and experience freedom. Time to stretch.
All right. Last up, we got the reach and rotate. All right. So I'm going to reach over here and rotate, turn and pivot. Come back to center and then turn and pivot. Oh, yeah. Right across here, we're stretching all the way through this line of the body. This is more of an active stretch, getting range of motion built in there. So we're reaching out on the angle there and just stretching all that tissue through the body there. If you wonder why we have extra skin on the side of our body, it's so we can move. Because if I didn't have any extra skin on the side of my body, I would have just torn it right there. Oh. All right. So, I hope you had a lovely walk and learn. And you got some good ideas. You got a good stretch. You got some good steps in. Maybe you ran, maybe you walked, maybe you jogged. Whatever you did, it's a good deal. So what I want you to do is, hopefully you can apply some of the stuff you learned in the book. And if you don't have a copy of the book, you might want to grab a copy so you can review those chapters I read, plus the 20 plus more chapters that are in there. So it's some of the best information I've ever come across as a trainer, and I wanted to put it all in one place so people could have access to it. So if you have a copy of that book, you need to value it a little bit more and read it if you haven't read it in like a long time. It's tough. The books get shoved in the background. So pull that out, check it out. 1 chapter a day is plenty. 31 chapters, that's why there's 31 chapters to go through the month. All right? If you don't have a copy of the book, pick up a copy, go to Amazon. Fitness in Real Life. Real life fitness for real life people just like us. All right, this is Jeremy saying have fun, be safe, God bless. God, thank you for bodies that can move, opportunities to learn, the beautiful world that you put outside, and that we can find some restoration for our souls when we go out there. Help us to be benefited in many ways from the workout today, and that we can go into the rest of our day with a great mental attitude and strength, or maybe our night, depending on what time we did it. In your Son Jesus Christ, amen.